Hi everyone, my name is Laura and I was accepted to do the Disney College program for fall 2018, so welcome to my channel. So I wanted to kick off with a video talking about my application process because mine was a little bit more complicated than most people, so I just wanted to go through it and explain what happened. So the first step in applying for the Disney College program is the initial application where you put in all your previous work experience and stuff like that. So for me, applications came out around January 22nd or 23rd of 2018, and I didn't submit it right away. So I took my time with it, you know, making sure everything was perfect. I did so much research beforehand, just making sure that all the little details and stuff were right. I didn't want anything to go over my head. I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what I was putting on that application. So it came to a point where my friends were like, come on, just apply already. Like, just, you can't keep waiting. And I was like, okay. So I actually ended up submitting my application on February 14th at night. And I was so nervous for this because this was the only thing I wanted. I had not applied to anything else for after graduation. I had nothing else planned. It was this or nothing. So that's why I was so nervous when applying and like took so long because I wanted to make sure every little thing was right.
Wait, you submitted it?
No, it's okay. Here's the button.
She's doing it! Turning back, he loves you.
Scroll down, read. For security,
Oh my God.
please sign out when you're finished. Thank you for your interest in Walt Disney. The application is valid for your entire blah, blah, blah.
It's 100% complete. She did it.
So after submitting your initial application, most people get their web-based interview like an hour after or like a few hours after, and I just didn't want to sit around waiting the whole time, just waiting to see if it would come. So my friends and I actually went to a movie, so I like wouldn't have to look at my phone or anything. I could just like relax a little bit and then see if I got it. So I was really nervous after the movie, and I checked my phone right away. I had nothing, so I was worried. I got back home, I checked on my computer, still nothing. And for the most part, most people that don't receive the web-based interview right after, like a couple hours after they submit their initial application, it usually means they don't move on with the next round. So I was just really worried. I didn't know what to do. It was already late, so I just went to bed. So the day I applied was a Wednesday, and then I heard nothing back until Saturday, February 17th. And then I was really confused because the email I got was a reminder for the web-based interview, and that email said that I had only 24 hours to complete the web-based interview. But I was just really confused because I had never received the actual web-based interview link to do it. So I was like, oh, this is so weird. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, did I get it? Did I not? So that night, after all the confusion, I just ended up emailing them and saying like, hey, I don't really know what's happening. I got an email saying it was a reminder for the web-based interview, but I never got the initial email that comes with the link, so I couldn't ever complete it. And online on my dashboard too, there was no messages, so I couldn't find it there either. So I just emailed them and hoped for the best. And then unfortunately, since it was a Saturday, I just got an automatic reply email saying that they would look at the emails starting Monday. This actually really worried me because the email I had received said that I only had 24 hours to complete the web-based interview, and they weren't going to respond to me in the 24 hours. So I was just very nervous that they were just going to lock me out of the system. So then 2 days later, on February 19th, on the Monday, I got an email back from them saying, thank you for contacting us. We see that in your communications you received the link and the email for the web-based interview on February 14th, but I never received that. I checked my junk, I checked trash, I checked everything that I could have. It just wasn't there. It wasn't on my dashboard either. So I really didn't know what to do. This email also said that they were going to attach the link for the web-based interview, but it wasn't there, so I was just so confused. So then I sent another email with screenshots of everything. I had my dashboard, all the messages I had received from them, the email that they sent me saying that the link was there, but there was no link there. I just put it all in one massive email and said, I'm still really interested. I don't know what's happening. Like, please just still consider me. I sent the email with all the screenshots on February 19th, and then I didn't hear back for a while until February 27th. And in between that time, I was just very worried. Like, I didn't know what was happening because they never replied. I never got the email. I just wasn't sure if my application was moving forward or not. After about a week of waiting and just not hearing back anything, not getting any response, on February 27th, I finally got the email for the web-based interview, and I was so happy knowing that finally it was moving forward and I would actually get to move on with the process of applying. In that week of waiting, I also just looked up a bunch of different tips and stuff to complete the web-based interview, just hoping that it would come. So when it finally did, I completed it that same night because I didn't want to wait any longer. I didn't want to wait for the next day or anything. I just wanted to get it out of the way since I had been waiting for it for such a long time. That night, my roommates helped me go through the web-based interview because you're timed on the questions, so I just wanted to make sure that I understood all the questions and everything correctly, which was fine, but it was nice just having them there. So I completed it and then got the offer for the phone interview, which was such a relief to finally keep going through with the application. Scheduling the phone interview was a little bit tricky because we were actually going on spring break during the times that were available, but luckily we were just going to each other's houses and not anywhere crazy. So, you know, I knew that wherever I ended up doing it, I would just be in someone's house and it'd be comfortable and not too crazy, so I could like focus and relax and prepare beforehand. I ended up scheduling my phone interview for March 5th at 9:15 p.m. and that night we happened to be at my friend Rachel's house. To prepare that night, I printed out my whole application process, so just showing all the things that I had put on there, my work experience, just so I can see it easily while I was talking if I needed to reference something again. And even after just printing the application, I took these sheets and just pretty much wrote everything else, any other tips that I had heard, just so I could have it in front of me in case I needed to refer back to something. I was so nervous for this. Interviews just stress me out so much, and I was such a wreck. I just wanted it to be over, but I wanted it to be good, and it was just so nerve-wracking. So finally it came time for the application. I went upstairs to Rachel's room. I was like, everyone stay downstairs, no one distract me. Like, I just needed to like mentally prepare a little bit before. And so then I got the call, and the interview wasn't horrible. I was clearly very nervous, so I was like stuttering a little bit and just stumbling, and I don't know if all of my thoughts came out how I wanted them to, but the recruiter I had was super nice and super understanding. And thinking back, I was so nervous that I barely remember most of the questions. I just remember it was a lot of very role specific questions. For the ones that I put like high, medium, and low interest in, she asked me a lot of questions pertaining to those roles. At the end of the interview, I was just so relieved that it was over and I didn't have to worry about it for a little bit, and I could just enjoy the rest of my spring break. Once I got back to school, I kept checking the Twitters of the recruiters, seeing when the next waves were coming. And there was one week where they said that there was going to be a big wave, so I just kept waiting, and then they were like having technical difficulties, I think, and they were like, oh, wave postponed, and I just kept waiting, and then finally they were like, okay, it's happening. And then that whole like 2-3 days, I don't even know how long, I just kept checking my email obsessively, like, before class, after class, whenever I could. I just kept refreshing, trying to see if I would finally get it, but still nothing. Then the week was over and no more waves, so I was like, okay, well, I don't know what's happening. Like, I just hope that next week it happens. I was just really hoping because, again, this was all I wanted. After the phone interview, I had about 9 days of waiting, which felt so much longer back then because I just kept checking all the time. I remember that week too, I had been so sick. I had a stomach virus, so I was in bed like for the past 3 days with a fever, and I just felt horrible, and I was just in bed all the time, and it was just so miserable. Plus I was just with the anxiety of waiting for that email to come, so it was like a lot. Finally then on March 14th, I got the email, and I was still in bed, probably still with the fever, just not feeling great, but I was so happy. I like couldn't even believe it was real. I checked my email and I saw congratulations. I was like, what? Why? I like immediately started crying. Then I was like, I have to read the rest of the email. So then I was like, yeah, I got it. Like, I got it. And the worst part was that my roommates weren't home, so I was just sitting in my bed like crying alone. Maybe I'll insert the clip later, it's so cringy.
I look horrible. I've had a fever for like the past 3-4 days. I don't know, I had a stomach virus. Anyway, I found out that I got into Disney, and I've just been freaking out and crying, and no one's home, so I'm just celebrating alone. But I'm so excited that I finally got accepted, and this is just a dream come true, literally.
It was just such a great moment, just knowing that after all that I finally got it. Like, my dream was coming true. Like, I was gonna go to Disney. It was just like such a surreal feeling. Like, I still can't believe it. Like, and I'm here now. Like, what? So immediately when I got the email, you know, cried and everything, I texted all my roommates. I was like, oh my god, I got in, because they were all so just hopeful for me, and we were all like anxious that the email could come any day, and it finally came. They were like all in meetings, like texting me like, oh my god, I just want to like get up and scream, but I can't. And it was just so great. I wish they had been there, but you know, it was just so great. I called my mom and everything, cried to her. I was like, it's happening, like my dream is coming true, like it's insane. So then I kept looking at the other emails that they sent me, whatever, and to see my role, and I got merchandise, which I wasn't really expecting, but you know, I'm actually very thankful that I got that now, so I'm very excited to start soon. And after all that waiting, all the anxiety of all the difficulties that I had, I was finally in, and it was just great, and I just still can't believe it. So thank you so much for listening to my experience with the application. I know most people don't really have that many difficulties as much as I did. Most people just either get everything right away or they don't get in, but they can keep applying. So mine was a little bit weird. I hadn't really heard of that happening to anyone else, but at the end I was just so grateful, and I hope you enjoyed listening to the struggles I went through. But I'm so happy that I'm here now and I can continue making videos and sharing my DCP experience with you all. Good luck to you if you're trying to apply. I hope your application process goes a little smoother. So thanks again. Subscribe if you want to keep up with my adventures here, and yeah, thank you. Bye.